What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a fun matchup for you. I'm going to be on the left side playing the Uta, and then Lamb really wanting to see if Foxy can work in OP07. Foxy's an interesting leader right now. I think he has a lot of tools in order to stun and stall the game, but honestly, I think his top end is lacking in just purple in general, right? So let's see how he manages to deal with the Uta here. Uta being one of the rogue decks, so Foxy shouldn't have a really hard time. But Lamb playing the Mondo there, being able to ramp one, swinging 6 in the lead, connecting as well. Going into my 4 Dawn turn, I think I just tempo out a body just because I'm not sure if Foxy actually has any removal, and so I want to just use my Dawn to get pressure on the board. So now he is up to his 6th Dawn turn since the Mundo was able to ramp him. And I think this is where he starts to stun, maybe not, because swinging 6 in the lead, saving 5 Dawn and dropping the Kid here. Kid's just a really good card in any purple deck. Foxy Pirates especially. I think most of them Dawn down in order to activate their effects. So having the Kid on board is really important to keep your Dawn stable. And so I go 6 in the lead here, unfortunately whiffing with the leader effect, but that's okay, because I still have plenty of cards to work with. Swinging 7 with the Zoro, connecting, and placing out the Nami in order to search for a 2k blocker or a 2k counter there. So pretty solid turn so far, and then passing it on to Lamb. So I'm not too sure what Foxy's game plan generally is. I think he wants to just stall in order to get to his 7-drop Foxys and then basically just out tempo with the -1k effect that he has. So pretty big turn for Lamb here. He's able to drop the Capote, Pickles, and Mondo all at once, meaning his leader effect is now active, and he uses that to stun my Zoro and leader. And then keeping 1 Dawn up, I think probably has a counter event anyways, so don't try anything too big here. Instead, I just play the 7-drop Luffy and putting down an Uta blocker. So basically all I can do there, because what Capote does is he also stuns a target, so not only was my Zoro and Uta not able to get refreshed, but also my Nami couldn't swing either. And I think here is where Foxy begins to get online. But honestly, if you have a build that works, we've been trying to get Foxy to work, but he just seems to be lacking some offense with his stunning abilities. I'm not really sure what techs could work with this guy, but going into Lamb's turn here, I think he's trying to see what he can do without dropping the Foxy playable, just because I think if he had it, it would have been a really easy drop there. But instead, he KOs my Luffy. I didn't even know that purple had a card like that, but being able to KO tall characters is really good for his deck, just because you can essentially just stun out everything else and then remove the big bodies. But the Porsche comes down, adding the chopper blocker to his hand, and then he's probably gonna cheat him out as well. So there, I actually just let him play out the Mundo. I think he forgot that Mundo can trash himself in order to ramp up. But since it's just a casual match, it doesn't really matter. So after stunning my Zoro and Uta once again, I was just forced to block with the blue no there. So finally able to use my Nami ability again, and using a new Genesis to just, I think at that point I was just looking for like a Luffy to drop down, but I ended up just grabbing a couple of counters in hand. Okay, my mistake. I actually had a Luffy, which is good because I feel like I wasn't able to do much besides just sit there and get stunned, and so I was able to develop two bodies here with the Luffy into Usopp. Didn't really want to commit much more because I feel like overlaying my characters would have been a waste of Dawn there. So luckily for Lamb, he finally gets the playable Foxy, and I think this is where it might get interesting on our end, because Foxy reduces everything by 1000 when it is your opponent's turn, and so that makes it really hard for us to close out because we need to assign more Dawn in order to get some swings in. So gives me a couple of swings with his leader in Porsche. I'm able to counter out, but I give up my Nami just because I wanted to play out a body the following turn. So Usopp going in for 5 into 5, and then Zoro coming down, and I think this is basically where it's just downhill for the Foxy player. Again, having no real strong top end, it's really hard for Foxy to compete with decks that have really strong top end, especially Zoro being able to untap himself if Foxy stuns him while he's tapped down. So here he swings 7 into lead with his Foxy. I decide to take it there. I didn't want to commit any blockers just yet, and I was feeling really healthy considering that's his only big body on the board. So he gives me another 7k swing, and then I decide to block with Luffy in the 1k here just because realistically with one more big swing, if he decides to go for my Luffy, I can always block with the Uta. So I think he's deciding whether or not he wants to commit a lot of Dawn into the swing. But I would personally try to get some use out of Pickles. Him being a 4k body means that if I swing into him next turn with my lead or Usopp, they would be also 4k, so not very vulnerable there. So he decides to swing in 7-6, and then I decide to counter out just because I wanted to have as much pressure on the board as possible, especially him being able to stun so many things at once. I didn't want him to stun the only bodies I had on the board if he were to clear the weaker characters. So here I start off the turn with New Genesis, grabbing an I'm Invincible in hand, just because in the following turns I do plan on closing out the game. So giving it a shot here by swinging 9 with the Zoro, restanding for 2 Dawn first, and then swinging in 9 again and activating his effect to restand him. So I think I decide whether or not I want to just swing in or not, because he is able to stun the Zoro, but because Zoro can just pay 2 Dawn to untap himself, I decide to just swing in. Yeah, and with this, I force him to essentially just give me his entire board, or at least the threats on it, including Kid and Sanji. So all he has left is the Porsche and Foxy. Looks like he drew a counter event, so really all he has on board is what he has to work with. Unfortunate he didn't see any Reijus this game, just because it seems like Foxy runs out of steam really quickly. And also only seeing one of the playable Foxies made it really difficult to compete with the board here. So he tries to clear as much of my board off as possible, but not sure if this is going to be enough for him here. So he decides to tap down my Zoro and lead. Not sure if the leader was the right play. I might have just kept Luffy tapped down, him being a 7k swing, just because with I'm Invincible I would at least have to commit 3 Dawn in order to use it. But with 1 card in hand, I decided to just swing minimums essentially and force him to counter out with whatever he has in hand. So he actually uses the Foxy Pirates event. Forgot what it's called exactly, but it allows him to tap down any of my bodies on board, and he taps down the Zoro after me activating his effect to restand him. So from here I really just have the Zoro left to swing with, and with everything, definitely doesn't have enough counter to get out of that. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.